We're back with Naomi Riley, author of a book subtitled Why You Won't Get the College Education You Paid For. Jim O'Neill from the Teal Foundation is giving away $100,000 to students who drop out. And Greg Lukianoff of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. So we'll go to the audience in a second, but first from my Facebook page, Harvey Dent asks, do student loans and other government subsidies actually increase the cost of tuition? Naomi?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the sort of the curve on this graph, it's amazing how it exactly follows. The more the government subsidizes it, the more the colleges think they can charge you. And it's the wrong incentives are in place.
And tuition goes up. Yes.
Earlier you said that the cost of a college education has increased about 4 times the rate of inflation. Has the number of applications tracked that? Is that also going up?
At the most competitive schools, you are seeing the applications go up, and the colleges really encourage that. They want to be seen as the place where everybody applies, but only a few people get in, and that's how they think they move up the rankings.
Who's next?
How else is the average 18-year-old supposed to signal hard work, intelligence, and commitment without going to college?
Having a job is a great way to demonstrate that. Inventing something new, designing a great product, writing a great essay. There are all kinds of ways you can spend your time being intelligent in an interview. But really, seriously, 6 months of dedicated work at a job where you progress and get a good recommendation can be much more specific testament to your skills and talents and as far as your next employer.
Okay, who's... Yes.
Should I or should I not go to college?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Well, here's my hope. My hope is that the answer is yes. But if college tuition keeps on going up and you keep learning less and less and you get no due process and you get no freedom of speech in higher education, then the answer should probably be no. But we're hoping that by the time you're ready to go to college, things will be very different.
Yes.
Oh, well, my experience in college is that, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but in virtually every area that free thinking and individualism is just crushed, and especially in the area of the liberal bias. Like, for example, one of my professors said that Milton Friedman was Pinochet's right-hand man, when I clearly found out that that wasn't the case. That was
Were you crushed? You were allowed to argue with him, right?
Well, he pretty much shot me down in every area, and everybody else believed him because I self-educated myself, and that was pretty much my epiphany moment to leave college.
At least you're not getting in trouble anymore for having the wrong opinion, because if even one
but his grades may be lower.
Oh, the grades may be lower, and that's one of the ways they get punished. And universities like to pretend like the censorship that happens on campus in some cases is forgivable or adorable or somehow inoffensive. It's always offensive when it's happening on college campuses.
The level of intellectual uniformity on campus is incredible, and the tenure system encourages it. It encourages professors to just hire clones of themselves who believe everything that they believe.
Isn't your own father a tenured professor?
I knew that was going to come up. Yes, I joke with him that the book could be titled Confessions of an Ungrateful Child.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, our son has been in a college preparatory school for the last 3 years here in New York City, and now he's a senior.
Aren't those called high schools?
Yes.
Okay.
Last time I checked, high school, college preparatory school. But so what advice would you give us? I mean, we don't want to get caught in the big debt machine.
I'm glad you're having this conversation with him now. There are so many ways to learn. Naomi said the word consumer. That's exactly right. People of all ages should be informed consumers of knowledge and skills, not passive aggregators of status and debt.
When you go visit colleges, one of the things you should think about is who is in front of the class. So I would really, go and experience what the education is going to be like, and make sure you go at the right time to do that.
But even if you do that, that doesn't really protect you. You don't know what your debt load is going to be, or if you're going to get a job from these fun teachers.
You're right. You just have to be active and figure out. I mean, you can talk to professors. There are professors on campus who will be helpful. Often you have to go seek them out. And you could talk to people in your field and say, what does it take to get a job? I mean, don't let them sit in the offices, hiding from you. Go find them. If you're paying for the education, you should be able to talk to them and get the answers to your questions.
Are there other options than college? How popular are apprenticeship programs? What do they call trade schools and 2-year colleges?
So I think they're not as popular as they ought to be. There should be more options, and they should be more socially acceptable. There's nothing.
They're not socially acceptable?
In some parts of the world, in some circles, it's considered really poor form to actually, choose a school based on specific skills that you want to acquire in order to go into a specific career. And there's actually nothing wrong with that.
From Facebook, Tom Senna asks, will the next bubble burst be a higher education bubble? Jim says yes. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't think the tuition can go down as long as government's throwing money in this direction.
I do think that the federal government is one issue, but state governments are really starting to tighten their belts. I think they're really seeing some pushback from people. So I think you might see some of it happen, at least at the state level, even if it's not happening at the federal level yet.
So they cut the tuition, there's less money, but they can't fire any of the tenured professors like your father.
Which leads to a great opportunity for student rights, because one of the most galling things that's been going on over the past 15 years is that the people that they're hiring with these huge tuition bills are not professors. It's not going to instruction. It's going to this massive army of campus administrators. And if they actually start cutting these positions, then I might have to fortunately find another job, because it's these college administrators who enforce the speech codes, have the crazy programs that students get in trouble for the wrong opinion.
They've got nothing else to do.
That's their job.
Thank you, Naomi, Jim, and Greg. Coming up, if you think a college degree is the only way to succeed, you might be surprised to hear about some of the rich and powerful people who reached the top without that piece of paper. My Take, next.